school teachers being educated from a guy, or taking an education from a guy with a great education. So they got quite a laugh out of it, but they were just in touch with me again today, and they're having great results. So it's like I said, it's just about waking them up. One person at a time. You heal one person at a time, and they're all their friends know the truth, and it just keeps spreading.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about not backing down. Because if you've got the truth,
Right.
if you've got the facts, and you don't back down, I can assure you, every single argument that I've had with people of that nature who are just full of BS, they always
Yep.
leave the conversation first. I have never, ever left a thread on Facebook and having other people not leave first. And it's not because I'm like, oh, I'm just so stubborn and I'm a douchebag or whatever. It's because I have appropriate, reasoned, evidentiary responses to every fallacious statement that they make, and I make them look like a frickin' idiot every time they open their frickin' mouth. Okay? And so they leave because they don't like being treated like that. They don't like being treated like the idiot that they are.
Yeah, how dare you not respect me? What kind of bullshit is that?
How dare he?
Yes, how dare he? But there is more and more people now, speaking this way. And, I was talking to a man here the other day, and he said that about me. He said, you're a very brave man to stand up and do this. And I said, I'm simply speaking the truth, for God's sakes.
It does
That's
take
what we all
bravery to
should be
do that,
doing.
though.
Well, nowadays it does, but if we all started doing it, we'd all be prophets.
But then none of us would be brave. What is it? Hey, is that like, are you only brave by comparison to a coward, or is bravery and cowardice is cowardice, no matter which way you slice it?
Yes, that's quite true, brother. And there seems to be no shortage of cowardice these days.
Yeah. Well, I find. What are we talking about? I've seen so many films where one man takes on the enemy by himself and takes them all out, because he's brave and he's powerful and he's skilled and he can beat the crap out of them and shoot them from a frickin' long distance away or whatever.
Rambo.
I think that people have begun to believe that because it's on a movie that it's not real.
You're right.
That's not true, actually, because this is the lesson of history. It's always one person who takes out the bad guys, man. One person who got the skills, who won't back down, who's brave enough and stalwart. I remember Andrew Jackson, probably one of the coolest presidents of the United States.
Yeah.
And I think this is not only a lesson of history that is both very interesting, but it's also quite mystical in a way, because on his deathbed, he was asked, "What was your greatest achievement in your life?" And he said, "I killed the bank," and he did.
Right.
Greatest achievement he ever had in his life. The bankers didn't like that, and here's the most important part of the story, I think. The bankers sent an assassin that had 2 single-shot pistols, broad daylight, and they both misfired.
Good.
If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you walk right with God,
Yes.
something works out in the end, inevitably.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, I'm not a religious person, but it almost, David Icke has said the same thing. He said that, that nobody's going to bother him or come near him because, I think David Icke is really one of those people of the light. I mean, I think he's one of the greatest truth seekers on the planet, and I have a great deal of respect for the man. But, like everybody out there, I mean, I'm putting out my books and things like that, and by the way, they are doing quite well. We get them out as ebooks right now, and they're available on our website. But we've had so many good responses about the books. People are enjoying them, and right now on Papsite Radio through Indiegogo, we're doing a fundraisers so I can actually get the books out into paperback. Because I keep giving the money away that it generates, and because all the activists need money, so I keep trying to help everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And that reminds me, I need money, ladies and gentlemen, but do not donate to me unless you have already paid for your food and your rent and have taken care of your family's needs. We'll be right back.
No matter where you live, globalism affects you. Did you know that The Vinnie Eastwood Show has more subscribers than New Zealand Herald TV and is New Zealand's most popular YouTube news channel, where warm-hearted humour and a list of awesome guests talk about crucial issues which the mainstream media ignore? A show where you, the listener, can phone up with questions, comments and suggestions of guests. Vinnie is building a hub to connect truthers with raw information they need to become active. He can help you gain further skills such as website building, producing audio and video, and creating revenue streams in your own multimedia environment. Because Vinnie supports such a wide range of people in the truth movement, he is not government or corporate backed and relies entirely on your donations. Give now, give generously, or subscribe for $10 a month for access to ad-free video archives. Just visit thevinnieeastwoodshow.com and click donate.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the fastest 2 hours in talk radio. It's unfortunately come to the end of the line, and we're almost out of time with Rick Simpson from PhoenixTears.ca. That's something I came up with over the break. There's a lot of talk out there when people look at problems, okay, you say like, this is the problem, that's the problem, blah, 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 blah. And then there's these pituitary retards. I think I'm being a little less insulting than I should be there, who say that, you're just talking about the problems, you're not proposing any solutions. I'll tell you what the main problem is. The main problem is people refuse to look at the problems, okay? So the solution is to look at the problems honestly and openly and then come up with the frickin' solutions. How are you going to come up with a solution if you have no idea what the hell the problem actually is? You retard.
Well, I have to agree, Vinny. The public are very good at denying reality. And like you say, look at a problem like the cancer rates. You know, why don't people understand that, the cancer treatments we have today aren't working, for God's sakes? We should all realize that. The doctors know that. So it's just like you said, people will not look at the problem. And if they simply would, then they would almost have to react and do something.
Pretty straightforward. I would have thought. But have you noticed, almost everything that's really simple and obvious is the most difficult to implement.
Quite so, brother. When I started doing this years ago, I thought that, the medicine would be out in a matter of months because it was just undeniable. There's the truth that, all through history. And yet people, they'll do anything. They try to protect the government, for God's sakes, like all those people in Canada that came to me, and once they understood the truth, then they start and they make excuses for the government. They got to control the population. You look at them and you say, do you know where you live? This is Canada. There's nobody here. What population? Jesus.
Oh. That's actually the best argument for population reduction I've ever heard.
Oh, believe me, Canada's like Australia. It's the big empty.
Yeah, see, like I said, if you believe that humans should be killed deliberately and not saved, then by all means, volunteer. Okay?
Yes.
Volunteer. I don't know. There, as I say, there are many innumerable ways to commit suicide. You can commit suicide by overeating. You can commit suicide by having too many vaccines. You can commit suicide by helping to work at the Fukushima Daiichi reactor. Okay? There's plenty